If you've been thinking about getting serious with your money, like actually serious, now's the time. The Motley Fool is offering new members 50% off their iconic stock recommendation service, Stock Advisor. This is the same service that's crushed the market with recommendations that have returned 1,057% since inception, compared to the S&P 500's 180% over that same period. This isn't guesswork. The Motley Fool has a track record of finding companies before they become household names. So if you want to invest smarter and you like saving money while doing it, go to fool.com/listen to claim your 50% off discount off a 1-year term of Stock Advisor. Again, that's fool.com/listen. Returns of 1,057% are from the Motley Fool's product Stock Advisor and measured against S&P 500 returns of 180% as of July 10th, 2025. Past performance is not an indicator of future results. All investing involves a risk of loss. Individual investment results may vary.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
All right, listen up, cabbies. I got your assignments. Riga, 643. Wheeler, 148. Nado, 804. And all of you need to join host HP and Father Malone as they examine one of the greatest sitcoms in television history, Taxi. In Night, Mr. Walters, a Taxi podcast. Banter, 0, like your boxing record.
Night, Mr. Walters.
We deal in paint, pigment, light and shadow, realism, surrealism, impressionism, and ghost stories.
An interest in the oddball, a predilection toward the bizarre. And this place is nothing if it isn't bizarre.
There's no admission, no requirement of membership, only a strong and abiding belief in the dark at the top of the stairs, or things that go bump in the night. The name of this place, should you have come in here accidentally out of the ring, is the Night Gallery.
Welcome back, art lovers, to Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast, where we discuss Night Gallery, Rod Serling's follow-up to The Twilight Zone. I'm Father Malone, and with me here in the gallery are the projection booths, Mike White.
Ahoy, ahoy.
And joining us, as always, as the Culture Cast, Chris Stachiw.
And I'm joined by my daughter, Jenny. Jenny, please say hi to everybody.
Oh, Jenny, you're looking very lovely today.
This is probably the most celebrated, talked about, written about, remembered episode of Night Gallery to its initial audience, syndicated as well, probably. It is Season 2, Episode 22. It aired on March the 1st, 1972, and was split into 2 segments. Those are The Caterpillar and Little Girl Lost.
There are horror stories and horror stories, elements of terror that take myriad forms. But this item has a built-in terror which can refrigerate even the most dispassionate amongst us. It has to do with a little beastie known as an earwig. A small bug that crawls into the human ear. And while inside, it doesn't whisper sweet nothings. It performs quite another function. Offered to you now on Night Gallery. A brand new nightmare which we call The Caterpillar.
The Caterpillar was written by Rod Serling from a short story called Boomerang by Oscar Cook, which is a better title. And it was directed by Jean Zwark, who I think this might be his best direction of the entire series, maybe his career. This one stars Laurence Harvey, Joanna Pettit. This is her 3rd of 4 appearances on Night Gallery. Tom Helmore, John Williams. This is his 2nd appearance. And Don Knight. He's a professional English scumbag. This guy was on every television show, including Banachek, including Columbo, in Swamp Thing, the traitorous prick, that Australian traitorous prick, that's him. But I mainly know him from abandoning 3 adorable children and then Just when Bill Bixby and Susan Clark have them settled into a comfortable life, he thinks he can swoop in and rip them away for what, money? How dare you separate the Apple Dumpling Gang? Anyway, this is a tale of jealousy in Borneo and a most elaborate and simple plan with which to woo a prospective mate. Mike, what'd you think of this one?
Shouldn't it really be called the earwig? That was really bothering me. No.
Of all the problems in the episode, that's the dumbest one. Like, what? Boomerang is a perfect title for it. It means just as much as a caterpillar because neither feature in the episode at all.
Yeah, it would have been nice if something, but yeah, I must have either seen this or seen one of the countless adaptations of this story, or this feels like it's like a campfire tale, right? This whole thing of we took out the thing, but the thing laid babies. And I think I heard spider when I first heard this story. Okay, cool. But I thought it was well done. I really liked Laurence Harvey. I find it very funny because, Chris, we're going to be talking about Laurence Harvey again this week. So like Laurence Harveying all over the place right now, which is great. Yeah, but it was just like a blackout skit that was stretched very long again, but better than most of these ones that we've talked about lately. They're going out on a high note.
How about you, Chris?
You know, Father Malone, you and I used to do a show about Tales from the Crypt, and I think that this is in that wheelhouse. There are a couple episodes of that show that I can remember back. I want to say one, there's a woman with her head, or she's a zombie, and then there's a guy's head on a plate, and they're in like Jamaica or something, and it's a be careful what you wish for type thing where he's a jilted lover or something. So I love it. I love the bunch of these stodgy British dickheads in Borneo. Like, I love that. It's fantastic. The setting is great. I don't think they take too much advantage of it because it feels rather set bound, unfortunately, because it takes place inside of this plantation house with Laurence Harvey just being horned up big time, like an erection popping through his fucking pants, like the moment he sees her. And it's just like, she, to her credit, she is like, hell no. Joanna Pettit is like, hell no from moment one, which is interesting because normally in these kinds of stories, there's like this in the air, up in the airness about the female character's feelings towards the unrequited male love. And in this, she's like, go take a cold shower and ice your dick, bro.
I wrote in my notes, finally, a love triangle story where there aren't two people who are wrong.
Right. And I absolutely loved that aspect of this because this, honestly, Father Blown, feels like the crescendo moment of having spent all those years watching Tales from the Crypt, and they just kept doing that shit over and over again. You have to have one of the people in the love triangle say no at some point, and it totally works here.
It was very fresh.
It was fresh, and the title is terrible.
Yes, both things we can agree on. Oscar Cook, the author of the short story, apparently was in the military in Borneo, wrote a lot of stories that took place there, which is why it's set here. And himself said that this is a parable for rich white entitlement. That Laurence Harvey's character is just this wealthy guy who just wants what he wants, and he's going to take it no matter what. I
like that.
Laurence Harvey is 1 year away from death here. He has stomach cancer. He's in the throes of it here. And evidently, during the scenes when the earwig is eating his brain, did not take his pain medication for that day of filming. So what you're seeing is actual genuine torment of Laurence Harvey. That coupled with the makeup is fantastic here. If you look at his ear, you can see that the hair all around the area has been scratched off. You can see where his nails have gouged at his own ears, thus necessitating him being tied to that bed. I thought that was really hard to watch and therefore really good. Also, he's wearing some fantastic button-up boots when we first meet him. They were beautiful. The music in this episode was handled by a new composer to Night Gallery. His name's Eddie Sauter. If you listen close in the background, there's an electric sitar and a marimba and these electronic squeaks. It's fantastic. Eddie Sauter used to be an arranger for Artie Shaw and Tommy Dorsey and the Benny Goodman Orchestra. And he will be providing the new theme for Night Gallery that we have with season 3. In fact, Eddie Sauter will compose all of the music from here on out for Night Gallery.
Wow,
Yeah,
nice job,
right?
Eddie.
I mentioned that I think this is Zwark's best segment, his best directed segment. I agree, Chris. This is a bottle episode. It is definitely a one location episode, but I don't think it's set bound at all. I think it's beautifully shot, very carefully lit and photographed. There's a shot where there's a wooden scrim on the left side of the screen, and Laurence Harvey and the husband's heads are both floating above it, and Joanna Pettit steps into the frame on the right, full frame. So these two floating heads of these two characters who want her. And then when Harvey has that super creepy line that his appetite is increasing while he's staring at her, the camera slides to the left. The husband is now gone. It's now Joanna Pettit and Harvey in the frame together, and in the background behind them are rifles and pistols. It's a beautiful shot. He should have been nominated for an Emmy for this thing. The day after the earwig has been inserted into the wrong ear, or was it the right ear, everyone at breakfast is dressed like George Romero. They're all wearing their safari jackets. It was so distracting for me because I know George Romero just kind of wore that as a uniform, and I know that's exactly what everyone would be wearing in Borneo at this time period, but it was still a bit unsettling. Okay, the Don Williams character, I said, was it the wrong ear or the right ear? Because do you think it's possible that character intentionally had the earwig put into Laurence Harvey's ear, like hearing his plan and what he was doing?
I thought that for a little bit, but I
wondered that too. But that scene where he's like, "Oh, sorry, they put it in the wrong ear. It happens sometimes." Like, fucking the most British guy around. Everybody, he had a fucking eel pie hanging out of his mouth. For fuck's sake, I love that scene.
Ain't you figured it out yet, mate? Ain't you figured it out? Oh, I am Britain. I am him.
But there's like. In that scene shirks conventions too, because I'm expecting him to show up at the window and be like, tough shit, asshole. But he's like, I'm sorry. So I don't know. I think it was genuinely an accident and he feels bad because that scene's like, I'm not gonna say it's moving, but couple that with Laurence Harvey just going and like making the noises, like you feel for both of the characters in the scene, which is not something I can say for a lot of the segments in Night Gallery. So I kind of feel like it was an accident just based on that one scene alone.
What's funny is I hadn't considered that it was intentionally put into Laurence Harvey's ear until he comes up to apologize. And then I thought, oh, he's really contrite about this. Did he do this? And now he feels bad because he's seeing the results of it. I don't know. Maybe I was working overtime on this one, but at least this particular segment begs these kind of questions and are conversations worth having.
Also, you mentioned the lighting in some of the scenes. The scene where they're in the bar, and it's the first time that Laurence Harvey and Mr. Britton meet with his hat, and it's lit really darkly, except for Laurence Harvey's eyes.
Yeah, that's called a halo eye light, which Jean Zwark here uses on Laurence Harvey at every opportunity. And why wouldn't you? Laurence Harvey's face is, look, I know he's sick here, but what a face, man. He always had those cheekbones and that gaunt, stony kind of stare. This is a guy who too often, in my opinion, got cast as a hero in movies, and that's what kept him from getting further, I think, because if you cast him as a villain, he's fucking aces, man, just like you see him here.
That's why he was perfect in Manchurian Candidate, because you didn't know, is he this or is he bad? Like, everybody's fawning over him, but something's not right.
I love his eyebrow raises. It's the eyebrow raises. I mean, it's his eye line, really. It's that T-zone area. But those eyebrows, man.
He's like... Oof. He can do like a John Philip Law eyebrow raise. Like he would be the American Diabolic.
That's exact. I could not put my finger on who he was reminding me of, but yes, John Philip Law. Holy Lord. Here's a fun fact that ruins the entire episode. There are no pain receptors in the brain. But other than that, I really, really liked it. Which is a fact. This is an episode I knew about long before I had ever seen it, because Stephen King chronicles it in his book Dance Macabre, his fiction book of horror from 1979 or so, where he kind of lays into the series as not being anything very good, but he singles this particular episode out as achieving the highest level of horror that he thought the series would ever get to.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would agree. Well, we haven't seen the rest of the season, or the series, so that doesn't bode well. But the master of horror. There's so many books at Half Price Books with K's on them that are just Stephen King and no other horror writer, so he must be right. I hope not, but at the same time, I mean, I guess this is scary. I don't know. To sit and think about the ending. Is the ending of this a scary ending? He's just going to die. That's it. Like, his head's going to explode and he's going to die.
Oh, is that all? We watched him with one in his ear, writhing and not being able to vocalize at all from the horrendous amount of pain he was enduring. And now he's going to have at least a dozen or so more of them in there.
Yeah, and they'll kill him, right?
The only ending for him is a pistol, right? Just take it off of the wall.
That'd be too good for you, mate. You'll have to sit and endure the pain.
Here's what I really liked. He goes through this entire ordeal. It's a miracle, John Williams shows up to tell us, that the earwig came out the other ear. And then Laurence Harvey immediately reverts to being a cocksucker. In the face of miracle.
Yes.
So in this case, this comeuppance is absolutely genuinely earned.
You're going to have me arrested at the dock, aren't you? No, we're not.
Oh, so good. Yeah. Yeah, there were some good bits to this, definitely. But like I said, it just felt a little long. I guess it was those writhing and pain scenes. Like, it felt like it just went on for a long time.
If you've watched the recent one, this is probably the one off of the DVD, that the episode is 33 minutes. But that's technically like a director's cut, because when it was originally aired, I think like 6 minutes were cut out of it. So we definitely got to see the full length version. Maybe had we seen the original and what ended up on syndication version, like a lot of our problems might have gone away with the episode.
Our next painting on Night Gallery tells the story of an illusion, an invisible specter which guides and motivates and drives. And though you will never see her, this childish wraith, you'll know she's there. And we venture to suggest that you'll be chilled by the knowledge. Our painting is called Little Girl Lost.
Little Girl Lost. This was written by Stanford Whitmore, based on a short story by Richard Matheson. Oh no, that was the Twilight Zone, Little Girl Lost.
Right.
This one was written by a short story written by author E.C. Tubb. It was directed by Timothy Galfus, stars Tim Riley himself, Mr. William Windom, Ed Nelson, Ivor Francis, and the painting, which is a beautiful painting at the beginning of this ethereal, ghostly, small girl floating in negative space. That's Chanel Wright, Tom Wright's daughter. She's the model for that one. She was also the model for The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes. Gee, I don't even really have a description of this story. This is you guys want to describe this one?
Well, it's very appropriate that we started with The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes this season and ending with this one. It really feels, if I didn't know better, it feels like they had a plan and that these were the perfect bookends for this whole season. But can I describe the plot? No, I really cannot tell you what the central stuff was hinging on. Chris, I know you said you watched these 3 times each. What the hell's going on with this?
Okay, so we have a scientific genius who's being tasked with developing fission, or fusion, I guess, fission, right? And his daughter dies, and so the guy starts losing it because he is imagining his daughter, and another scientist is sent in to be a confederate, as it were, and say, oh, I see her, she's here. And that's why I did the whole intro the way I did. It was like, hey, Jenny's here, because that's the girl's name in the segment. And then it turns... I guess I could just say what happens. And then it turns out that he is telling them the wrong thing intentionally because he wants to literally fucking destroy the world so that he can die, and maybe not the world, but himself at least, and a sizable portion of people around him, so that he can die and go be with his daughter and his wife, who he knew weren't actually there. And he did this all on purpose because he felt guilty and he was stalling to come up with a way to make it intentionally bad.
Wait, was that it?
Okay.
Wow.
That was the way I read it.
Okay, here's my synopsis of the story. A scientist is working on what could potentially be a doomsday device and has gotten so close to the formula that the military are champing at the bit to get it. His daughter dies. He has a psychotic break. He still sees his daughter and will not deal with the military at all. So they send in this psychiatrist guy to convince him that he should go back to work and finish the formula and that he'll take care of the daughter. And then that he does finish it and he figures out the formula is a doomsday thing, that if they use it at all, it's going to kill everything. And that snaps him back to reality. And then the world ends. That's what I thought happened.
Huh.
Mike, what'd you think happened? Let's make us a rondelay, a triptych of synopses.
Like I said, I really wasn't catching what they needed him for. For some reason, I just went in one ear and out the other, like an earwig or caterpillar. I'm still so mad about that. I just knew that they had to humor this guy and he was going to give them something at the end. So then when the world blew up, I was like, oh, is that what they wanted? That's probably not what they wanted. But just the whole pantomiming of taking care of little Jenny, oh my God, that gets old very fast. And especially I wanted the one scientist who can see Harvey, I wanted him to be like, no, Harvey's not there. Harvey's sitting over there. That's what I wanted to fuck with the other guy. But the other guy just picked up and went with it. Oh, what a lovely red dress you have. And I wanted the other guy to be like, red, that's green.
It really has that nice cabin in the woods ending to it where we start panning up and something just destroys everything. And they're, oh my God, no. Yeah, I wanted a giant rabbit foot to squish them. Yeah, it's I don't know, like it's a gag that goes on and on and on and on. At least it's not 40 minutes, I guess.
This one is 17 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is filled with cinematic pet peeves of mine, like the missing rear view mirror in the car when they're driving together. I fucking hate that. Just come on, do a little extra work. Another was the constant brushing of the little girl's hair. Like, I know
oh my God.
It's to establish the physical presence of the girl. Like, we get it. But that big old chunky brush, and how fucking long is that girl's hair anyway? Stop brushing her hair. That's another thing. That's another pet peeve. Like the over-attentive dad in movies who's constantly brushing the girl's hair as if that's somehow making up for the lack of their mom or something. I don't know. It always bothers me.
This is like the segment had the opportunity to do something interesting and it attempted it, I guess. But it just, again, it reminds me of the segment that we were just talking about. The one with the robots. Like the ending just, the ending is like absolutely insane. It makes very little to no sense. And I'm not saying the segment is good I'm not saying that the ending ruins the segment, but it doesn't help it. Let's just put it that way.
No, it's a mashup. It feels like it's either about this crazy man and his potential ghost daughter or something to do with that, or it's about this guy who figured out a formula for the end of the world and has gone insane. Like they don't show us what the psychotic break. I guess the daughter dying was the psychotic break to begin with, but is the moment where he snaps back to reality when that guy is rude to him at the restaurant. He wants the chair because there's no one sitting at the table. That's what it felt like.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like to me too. And I was like, why that? Why was that the thing? Like, has this just never happened before?
And it had to have. He's been out in public with his daughter for how long? Like,
Right.
Why didn't they buy? At one point, the attendant says, oh, let's go buy her a doll. He's trying to stall William Windom when he knows that he's getting suicidal and such. And that's a scenario that I wanted to see play out, like going to the toy store, picking out the doll, taking it out of the package, holding it out to the air and just dropping it to the ground. Like,
right.
Like, it's one thing to have the brush in your hand, but like, how real is she if you like, let's go buy her that doll? Does she want a lollipop? Here you go, crack.
I feel like they should have done that, right? Like, I feel like they should have gone all the way. Because like the gag with the brush is just overdone. Like at some point, you're just like, can you do anything else other than brush her hair?
Yeah, it didn't like read to her or something. Just do any other sort of activity that doesn't involve her hair. It's sort of weird.
Yeah, it was very disturbing. And that's how they introduce it. And then they just keep doing it.
Which, yeah, like again, if that factors into the story somehow, but it doesn't even factor into the story. It doesn't serve a purpose at all. And yeah, again, it goes back to this idea in my mind of the show just does the same thing a couple times too many. And there you and
I do appreciate the circularity with The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes being the first segment of this season and this one being the last. If that's the story they were telling, it just feels like they went, hey, you know, it'd be cool if we ended this one just like we ended the first one of this season. Just put it on there.
Like every episode ends the same way with the world blowing up. No matter what episode it is, it's just, that's what happens.
Season 3 is all Armageddon. This season was all revenge.
don't forget, we're missing an opportunity here to mention one of our favorite segments ever from Night Gallery. The last time we saw William Windom.
Oh, yeah.
They're tearing down Tim Riley's Barbie.
Yeah, that's how Father Malone introduced him.
Yeah, and we somehow have slipped under the "for he's a jolly good fellow" radar once again. Boy, doesn't it feel good?
Sure does.
We made it through the whole season. There's no way we can have any in the next season, right? Unless William Windom returns. William Windom returns in the third season.
Oh, no. God, we're going to have to bring it up one more time.
I'm pretty sure we're going to get one more, honestly.
I'm hoping you're talking about the new music for season 3. I'm hoping it's a play on "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow."
Oh, wouldn't that be great if that was the opening titles now?
For he's a jolly good fellow. God. And they did it enough in They're Tearing Down Tim Riley's Bar. They did it enough times there. God. And that wasn't They're Tearing Down Tim Riley's Bar. Wasn't that a 40-minute long segment or something?
Yep.
Like it was. Oh, dear God.
There's a weird circularity here now in that was the last season ender, and this is this season ender. Both have William Windom, but this one's 17 minutes as opposed to that 40-minute slog.
Yeah. A breezy comparatively.
And for he's a jolly good fellow.
Yeah. I, honest to God, thought that was Twilight Zone 1985. That's how long ago that feels like when we did They're Tearing Down Tim Riley's Bar. That because that was that was, like you mentioned, that was the end of the last season. So it's been an entire season since we saw.
Well, it's good that we've put the trauma that far behind us.
Prepare for season 3.
Exactly. We're going to play a preview for our next episode, and we'll be right back to wrap things up.
On display here is a painting showing the natural habitat of this species of black art practitioner. Dark alley, murky light, a few sundry skulls, and the gentleman himself on the right of the picture with the upraised hand and the funny little goat horns. Yes, indeed, this is a sorcerer. And for those of you who disbelieve his existence, we invite you to check this out for a little while. Our painting is called The Return of the Sorcerer, and where better place for him to return than right here in the Night Gallery. Our number 1 painting in tonight's exhibit, this intriguing portrait of a young lady, curiously photogenic and hauntingly familiar. Recall seeing this face? You've seen it. On billboards and magazine ads, on television commercials. Oh yes, you've seen it. But there are people who, having seen it, wish they hadn't. Our painting is called The Girl with the Hungry Eyes. And should I have failed to mention it, this is the Night Gallery.
That's right. On the next Midnight Viewing, we're taking a look at Season 3, Episode 1 and Episode 2. Those are The Return of the Sorcerer and one of my favorite titles of all time, The Girl with the Hungry Eyes. Who can it be? It's Joanna Pettit again. Midnight Viewing is a proud member of the Weirding Way Media Group. Our theme song was composed by HP. Until next time, what are you working on, Chris Stachiw?
Podcast, weirdingwaymedia.com. But don't just listen to my show. Listen to Noise Junkies, which Father Malone hosts with the aforementioned HP, and Mondo Heather's Heather Drain, or 80s TV Ladies, hosted by one of the hosts of Rankin on Bass, Richard Haddam. His wife and her co-host talk all about, you guessed it, 80s TV shows featuring who? Ladies. Check their show out. Check all those shows out. weirdingwaymedia.com, folks.
You really laid that out.
Yeah, sorry. You know what they say? You got to lay the red carpet on thick so that people have something nice to walk on.
What about you, Mike?
Me? Oh, not a whole lot. Just been kind of hanging around and stuff and working on the Projection Booth podcast. New episodes every week. Sometimes many. This is going to be a thing for a little while, a lot of bonus episodes. So go on and check those out. Had a nice interview with Mr. Eddie Deason today. So that was fun. It was a lot of fun to talk with Eddie. Check it out.
Go listen to all the archives over there at the Projection Booth Podcast. As for me, you want to see some of my nonsense, go to fathermalone.com. If you want to hear all of my nonsense, go to weirdingwaymedia.com. Thank you all for joining us here at Midnight Viewing. The gallery is now closed.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.